guys, welcome to another video. Today we're reviewing the Book of Boba Fett episode 6. This episode came out on Wednesday and it stars Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano. Now before we start, hit the like button, subscribe to the post notification bell so you know if you're video. Let's just start. Let's start talking about the good. So the opening recap of the previous episode, I thought it was good. It gives all the information of that previous episode in the beginning of this episode so you can actually understand what happens throughout this entire episode. The opening sequence, which is Cobb Vanth, who is of course played by Timothy Olyphant, great actor, versus the Pikes. It was awesome. It was an awesome opening sequence, and I think it works for the tone of this entire episode. The return of Cobb Vanth, who is of course played by Timothy Olyphant, was great. I really liked his character in The Mandalorian, and they bring him back in this episode. And Timothy Olyphant is one of my favorite actors. He's very good as Cobb Vanth, and I think his return was very well done. The reveal of R2-D2, Luke Skywalker, and Ahsoka Tano was great. Of course, I love those characters. I love the Clone Wars. I love everything about Star Wars. So those characters are some of my favorite characters in the franchise, and I think their return was very well done. The training sequences with Luke Skywalker and Grogu, they're great. It's sort of a role reversal, I guess you can say. Grogu, of course, is sort of like Yoda, but now he's being trained by Luke Skywalker instead of Luke Skywalker being trained by Yoda. And there are many references during that one sequence, and it's awesome. It's an awesome training sequence. Well, there are multiple training sequences, but each of them are distinct, unique, and very entertaining. The Grogu flashback sequence, which is Grogu during the Clone Wars, where, of course, all the clones are murdering the Jedi, and Grogu is just sitting there watching. It was an awesome flashback. It was emotional because it takes you back to the time of the Clone Wars. And, of course, if you've seen Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the TV show, you know that that sequence with all the Jedi dying, Order 66, all of that comes into play in this episode, and I think it works very well. There's a reference to The Last Jedi where it's talking about the building and Luke Skywalker building his own training school. And I think it works because, of course, Grogu is his Padawan now, and he is obviously being trained by Luke. So, of course, he's going to be one of those first students to be in that training school. And I think it works very well. There's a reference to The Empire Strikes Back. Of course, one of my favorite films of all time. It's easily my second favorite film of all time, right behind The Shining. But there's a reference, Grogu's on Luke's shoulders, and it's of course exactly reminiscent of Yoda on Luke's shoulders. Instead, now it's a role reversal. Luke is training Grogu instead of Yoda training Luke, and I think it works very well. There is a reveal in this episode, which I never saw coming. I never thought that they would ever do. But now, animated TV shows, and live action are now one. Cad Bane is now in live action. He looks fantastic. His reveal is one of the best reveals in this entire series. He's walking slowly. You see a figure. You sort of think it's him, but I said to myself, no, it's probably not him, because I didn't think that they would ever do this. But you see him walking in, you see the hat, and it's awesome. The dialogue between Cobb Vanth, who's of course played by Timothy Olyphant, and Cad Bane, very well done. It was great dialogue, and I think that it works very well because they fight in this episode. Well, it's not really a fight, it's really 2 seconds. Cobb Vanth dies in this episode, and I didn't see it coming, but I kind of did, because if no one's going to stand against Cad Bane and live, because Cad Bane has killed multiple Jedi, and if Jedi can't survive against him, Timothy Olyphant's character, Cobb Vanth, most likely couldn't stand against Cad Bane, and unfortunately that is true. Cad Bane takes him out in one shot, and it's awesome. It's awesome, but of course I love Timothy Olyphant's character, so it's kind of bittersweet. The dialogue. Now, other than Cobb Vanth and Cad Bane's dialogue, Luke Skywalker and Grogu, every single line of dialogue in this entire episode is very reminiscent of how Luke or Anakin would speak to their Padawan, and I think it works very well because there are of course, Luke Skywalker has some things that Anakin Skywalker has, um, from Anakin Skywalker being a Jedi trainer, and I think it works very, very well, especially that dialogue. The score, Ludwig Göransson is fantastic. His score is very, very good in this episode. It brings back that feeling of Star Wars, and this entire episode feels like Star Wars. Like, this episode is Star Wars for me. The previous episodes of Book of Boba Fett, while I enjoyed them, this one definitely feels the most Star Wars to me. And the ending sequence, which is Luke and Grogu. Grogu has to choose between becoming a Jedi or going back to Mando, and it ends on a cliffhanger ending, and you don't know who he's going to go to. Right now, I don't even know what Grogu's going to do, but I loved how they set that up, especially with that cliffhanger. That's about it. There's nothing bad about this episode. The Book of Boba Fett episode 6 is a fantastic episode. It is definitely my favorite episode so far, and I highly recommend it. And I'm going to give the Book of Boba Fett episode 6 an A. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the post notification bell so you know for every video. I'm Peter. Thank you for watching.